movieweb.com.
The question that really rings in my head about this film is the general culpability of the German citizenry, right? Halder is a professor, a smart guy, an intellectual, kind of sees what's coming down the line. Should he have been less surprised by what was really happening, or do you think he really kind of let his vision get clouded by his own success?
You mean surprised at the end at what he sees?
Well, not at the end at what he sees. I mean, more in the beginning, like the scenes where they're going to where he sees the rallies and so on and so forth. I think he recognizes them for being bullies and socialists and so on.
Yeah, but how many things did we see in this country 8 years ago, and how many things didn't we see, or how many things did we not want to see, or not want to believe about our government, about our country, about our leaders? I think that most people want to believe that their country is good and that their leaders have the best interests of the citizenry in mind, that they're not going to continually lie and deceive and cheat and steal. And when you realize after a while that they are doing that and that they will do that in any country, if allowed, because I think that any government, no matter how democratic it is, just by nature, its main goal is to survive, to keep itself in power, to be reelected, to stay in office. How many times do we see politicians? You have the governor of Illinois just continuing to lie. He's going to have to stop now because the evidence is incontrovertible, but he's still denying it. He wants to keep that power and that source of income, as he sees it. If you don't participate, if you're not paying attention as a person in a relationship, in your family, in your town, in your country, it's kind of hypocritical to complain after the fact. And one thing I think that's really a strong point of this movie, there have been hundreds of movies. There's a half dozen movies this year about Germans in the 30s and the 40s. What's different about this movie is that you're not let off the hook. You're not allowed to say, well, it's a time capsule. Those Germans are crazy. As you say, the general culpability of the German citizens. It's not us sitting here smugly saying, well, that can't happen here. We don't do that. We pay attention, We keep an eye on our government. Well, do we? Always?
Not really.
No, we don't. And then what happens? What always happens when you don't pay enough attention? Things go wrong, often. And because it's not about generals, because it's not about Hitler, this movie, and in a way it's not about Germans or Germany so much, it's just about people, average people with families, making decisions, avoiding making other decisions, or out of peer pressure going along with things that in their heart they know aren't quite right. Or offering token resistance, saying, well, I'm a professor, you're telling me I have to ban this author. Why? I don't think that's a good idea. Well, just do it. Okay. Well, but I've stated for the record that I'm against it, but I do it anyway. I go along because I want to keep my job. Just write this paper for the Nazi Party. Well, the Nazi Party's ridiculous. It'll never last. Bush will never get reelected. Okay, I'll just write this one paper. That's all I got to do? Yeah, that's all you got to do. And would you mind wearing this pin? Well, I'll wear the pin. I don't want to be part of the party. It's just a pin. Don't worry about it. You go along with this, you go along with that. It adds up. And then you get to a point, and there are several moments in the movie where this character really knows he's on the wrong path. You get to those moments, and then you have to say to yourself, well, no matter how much pressure, no matter how much criticism, no matter how much danger is involved, I have to get off this train right now. I'm on the wrong track. And then you don't, sometimes, often, personally or in general in society as an individual. And then you justify it. And those who are closest to you, in this case, the character played by Jason Isaacs, who's my good friend, or my ex-wife, I avoid seeing them. I blow off the dinner date. Because seeing them is like looking in the mirror. My family knows me. My best friend knows me. He's known me since World War I when we served together as soldiers, without any thought to the fact that he was Jewish and I wasn't. And all of a sudden now things are quite different, and I'm doing things and going along with things that we both said we never would. And if I go out to have a drink with him or go to dinner, I'm not going to be able to look him in the eye, so I avoid going out to dinner with him.
Let's talk about Jason Isaacs' performance as Morris. You guys had some tremendous scenes, including the scene where he's basically begging for your help.
Yeah,
and,
he's great. He's great, especially in that scene.
Well acted. And when the interview with him, I found out that he didn't really have time to. He was flying back and forth doing his, his television show, and he said that Viggo had gone out and helped me prepare and got me some information. How did you help him prepare for that role?
Well, first of all, I didn't know him, so he was working on a TV show, and he was in Providence, Rhode Island, so I went there to see him so we could at least talk a little bit about the story, but more importantly, just to look at each other and get to know each other as people, so that when we arrived, it wouldn't just be, oh, hi, I'm Viggo, hi, I'm Jason, okay, action, And then we corresponded while he was in the United States working and we had started shooting. I would let him know, or the producer, who was a good friend of his, Miriam Siegel, our producer, would let him know what was going on and how the script was shaping up and how the shoot was going. And I think he felt like he was in the loop, but there was a certain frustration about not being there. But as soon as he arrived, we welcomed him, and he and I hit it off. We had a good relationship. And all the actors, except myself, are these, like Jason, really good theater actors from Britain, really good film actors. And, at first I was a little nervous about it. I have to be up to their level, I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb, where you have these accents and these kinds of performances and then this sort of stumbling American in the middle of it. I didn't want it to be that way, and they helped me so that it wouldn't be that way, and I think we feel like we all belong together telling the story.
I never thought it would come to this. Nice.
I am begging you now.
Not you too, Johnny.